Section 1. Preparation. The preparation section of the program primarily covers the first 3 suggestions of the 12-step program. The first thing we need to do to solve a problem is to identify the problem. Many problem solvers come up with quick fix solutions before they truly identify the actual root cause of the problem. Firemen put out fires, but they can't stop them from starting. Carelessness generally starts them. Defining conditions which can cause combustion and addressing those is what will stop fire problems. Let's start with identifying and defining what we are dealing with. The subject matter is addiction. So let's begin with a few definitions found in Webster's dictionary. In S.C.R.E.A.M, we will deal with the drug addict and/or alcoholic, both addictions. Definitions: drug, medicinal, substance, commodity not wanted by normal market. Addict, one given up to something, usually an evil. Evil, bad, harmful, sin. Alcoholism, a disease, alcohol poisoning. Allergy, abnormal reaction of the body against certain foods, etc. Disease, illness, disorder of health, discomfort. Ill, out of health, bad, evil, faulty. Health, soundness of body, condition of body. Sick, affected by disease or ill health. Sin, transgression against divine, pertaining to or proceeding from God, or moral law, especially one committed consciously, conduct or state of mind of a habitual sinner. Moral, concerned with right and wrong conduct, of good conduct. Conscience, mental sense of right and wrong. As we study these definitions, we can begin to see interwoven connections of one's health, both in a mental and physical sense. Alcoholics Anonymous suggests the condition of alcoholism is a mental obsession plus physical allergy. The term alcoholism is never mentioned in the Bible. Or is it? The Bible does refer to drunkenness as a sin. Jesus warns against the abuse of alcohol in Luke 21:34. Be careful, or your hearts will be weighed down with dissipation, frivolous way of life, drunkenness, and the anxieties of life. And that day will close on you unexpectedly like a trap. The Apostle Paul also gives us warning in Ephesians 5:17 through 18. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery, which is to lead away from virtue, seduce. Instead, be filled with the Spirit. God warns us of prolonged use of a sin will reap death. Cigarette smoking is a sin which also isn't mentioned in the Bible. Yet we can agree prolonged use of smoking will cause lung cancer, a death-induced disease. Why should it be so difficult for us to agree The sin of drunkenness can, in some people, activate an allergic reaction which can trigger a death-induced disease called alcoholism. I know once the concept was proposed to me that my condition could be a disease, I began to feel like maybe there was hope for me as well. All I knew was what was true in my own life. Listening to testimony and people sharing in the fellowship of AA helped me realize I was not at all alone. I began to feel security in other people who shared my experience, once again reintroducing a sense of trust in my life. My experiences over the years, which I thought made me unique from other people, seemed to cause my faith in people to erode completely. Now, all of a sudden, my aloneness, my inability to trust anyone, and my inability to not drink was common amongst other addicts. ADDICT. Admit drug-dominated individual can't trust. Do you wonder who you are? I've thought about it often. Not everyone who has used or uses alcohol or drugs is an alcoholic or an addict. There are people who can, shall we say, entertain themselves with a sense of responsibility. But an addict or an alcoholic can't seem to do that. They're taken by the drug or drink and controlled by it. God blessed me with the opportunity of spending 7 years behind the bar after I quit drinking. This isn't something I would recommend people to do. But through the process of doing this, God graced me with knowledge of what really takes place in an environment I truly loved. I witnessed it with a clear and sober mind. I had fun in my drinking days. It wasn't all agony. But at some point it seems to take over and take control of us. That's when it starts to not be fun anymore. Is a recovery program for you? Nobody can answer that question but you. You'll find, if you haven't already, that close friends and family all want to share their opinions. It's done out of concern. Sometimes they don't know how to deal with it. They just want it all to stop. They want it all to end. It's impossible for them to understand what you feel. It's impossible for them to relate with your experience. An analogy I can use in comparison is, when you're married and you're about to become a father, you watch the woman you love go through a 9-month pregnancy. Somehow it helps you to change a little because you have empathy for her. You see her mood changes and appetite changes and all kinds of weird stuff going on within her and without her. It can become annoying. Yet there's this side of you that says to yourself, I understand. Well, brothers out there, let me tell you something. Don't ever tell a pregnant woman you understand. She'll throw things at you. Duck! She'll throw things because you can't understand. As much as your heart and your mind and your soul wants to understand, as much as you care about her, you may even hurt yourself because you feel that you know she's hurting, but you can't understand. Equally, it is true for an addict or an alcoholic. The people that are dearest to you, it could be a mother and father, a brother or sister. It could be your children or closest friend. They try so hard to the point of their own frustrations to get you to stop or get you to change or to get you to seek help. And all it seems to do is induce it even more. They can't understand. They cannot understand us any more than a man can truly understand what it's like to be pregnant. This is why we have to turn it over to those who truly understand. God, in His extreme wisdom, why not send a drunk to another drunk for help? What? But it works. Substance abuse addictions, like alcoholism and drug abuse, consist of mental obsessions linked with a physical condition similar to an allergy. Those that can help are those who can relate. You may ask yourself, is this really for me? There is a difference with a person that just occasionally parties, maybe drinks too much or something. Just because that incident happens doesn't make you an alcoholic. So are you or are you not? Only you can decide. There are 12 questions I'm going to list here for you to answer on your own. Try to be as honest as you can. When I was first introduced to these questions, I answered them as honestly as I thought I could. I think I answered yes to 4 or 5 of them. After 6 or 7 months of sobriety, I revisited these questions again and found 11 of the 12 were true. The first time I answered them, I didn't see that. As we progress in our recovery, we also progress in our awareness of understanding. See, I thought getting sober was when my hangovers were gone and I hadn't drunk for a little while. That's not sobriety. Sobriety takes time. It takes time to clear not only your physical system, but also time to clear your head. It takes time to be able to clear the way you think. Question number 1. Have you ever decided to stop drinking or drugging for a week or so, but only lasted for a couple of days? Yes or no? Question 2. Do you wish people would mind their own business about your drinking or drugging, telling you what to do? 3. Have you ever switched from one kind of drink or drug to another in hope that this would keep you from losing control? 4. Have you had to have an eye-opener upon awakening during the past year? Do you need a drink or a drug to get started or to stop shaking? 5. Do you envy people who can drink or use drugs without getting into trouble? 6. Have you had problems connected with drinking or using during the past year? 7. Has your drinking or using caused trouble at home? 8. Do you ever try to get extra drinks or drugs at a party because you didn't get enough? 9. Do you tell yourself you can stop drinking or using anytime you want to, even though you keep getting inebriated when you don't mean to? 10. Have you missed days of work or school because of drinking or drugging? 11. Do you have blackouts or loss of present time awareness? 12. Have you ever felt that your life would be better if you did not drink or drug? Answer these questions to yourself. They don't need to be shared. If you've answered yes to 2 or more of these, you may have some issues. You may have some needs. Help is available. You're not alone by any stretch of the imagination.